Welcome to Financial Jaga Jaga. The question, let me hit me on there. The question is, how am I going to make money, right? Now, if you own a share, there are two major ways of making money from owning a share or investing in stocks. The first way is dividends, receiving dividends. So at the end of each quarter, depending on the company's policy, but let me just say, assume that the company pays dividend quarterly, right? At the end of each quarter, when the company does like their accounting and they determine the profit they've made, the board of directors sit down and then they decide to pay dividend if they're dividend paying companies. Now, the dividend is more like a share of the profit that has been made. They are giving it to you that, oh, since you're a part owner, oh yeah, take this one home for this month. Do you understand that kind of stuff? Now, there are some companies that will have a rule that no matter what happens, whether we make profits, we make loss, we are going to pay dividend of 1 naira per share. So imagine you have 100 shares. It means that you will get 100 times 1 naira, right? You will get 100 naira for your 100 shares. So that's how it works. Imagine you have 700 shares. You get, so some companies will say 10 naira per share. So all of those decisions are made by the board of directors. And then the people who own shares will get dividends. Now, there are different kinds of dividends. It's not all companies that pay dividends. Some pay dividends but not regularly. Some pay dividend regularly. Some pay different amounts depending on how the company is doing, while some have a rule that no matter what happens, I must pay. So there are different dividend policies. There are some that pay stable dividend policy. No matter what, they have this rule that they must pay 5 naira per share. There are some that pay a constant dividend, that run a constant dividend policy rather. This means that dividend they will pay will be constant, depending, that will be a constant percentage. So it will fluctuate based on the profit. If they make 10 billion naira, the dividend will be 10% of 10 billion naira. Like they would have a constant percentage, right, to determine the dividend that will be paid per share to each shareholder, right? So and there are some companies that, well, is as the spirit leads. If we make money and we feel like we have some, we can spend dividend, we pay dividend, right? So it's not something that you put a gun to the company's head and say you must pay me dividend. That's why when you're going into share investments, you need to ask the right questions. You need to look at the companies and ask, do they pay dividend? Okay, what kind of dividend policy do they pay, and all of that. See, I'll do a more detailed video on how to choose stocks and all, but let's just get through with this one first. Now, the second way to make money from investing in stocks is capital gains. Now, remember I said dividends, which is like, consider it interest, just that it's not guaranteed. It depends on the company, their policies, if they make money, and the rest of them. Remember, you are like an owner, right? The second way to make money is capital gains. Now, what this means is, this is really about how much you buy the share when you are buying the share, and how much you can sell the share when you want to sell the share. So let me use maybe MTN as an example. If I remember correctly, I think the share was being sold at 169 naira in December. Now, if I want to sell the share today, it's currently, I think last I checked, it was above 200 naira per share. So that means if I want to sell off my share today, it means that, you know, I'm going to make profit per share. I'm going to be making a profit of 200 minus 169. It's above 200, but let me just say 200 for the purpose of simplicity, right? So my profit per share will be 200 minus 169. Now imagine I have like 1,000 shares or 2,000 shares or 10,000 shares. That will be my capital gain, right? Of course, there will be commissions and fees depending on the brokerage firm that's helping you, you know, sell your shares and all of that. Now, this is the second way. So if I'm going to buy shares, I should be concerned about two things. One, dividends. They pay dividends. Second thing I should be concerned about is capital gains, meaning that I should be willing to buy the share at the lowest possible price, and I should also invest in a company that I believe that this company has a potential to do well in the future. So maybe a company that has foresight, one that I know that, hey, it's not tomorrow, now they will collapse. Do you get? Check out part 3 to know who should invest in stocks. Cheers!